You've been talking about Shedeur Sanders this morning. What does he need to show in his preseason start against Buffalo this week?
I think he just needs to speed up his process, and that comes with getting a better pre-snap read. I think oftentimes we think quarterbacks are reading the defense as the play is happening. I think a lot of the best quarterbacks have a good understanding of what they're going to see before they snap the ball, using shifts and motions or whatever keys they can find. That's the thing that I think would speed him up a little bit. Is if he feels confident in the coverage that he's seeing, I think you'll see a much better version of him.
There's something so interesting about the way this whole Shedeur Sanders thing is going. Heather just made an interesting point, and I'm going to sort of tie it to this, about when a team is where they are in the AP preseason ranking, gives you sort of a preconceived notion about them, even if it has nothing to do with them. Shedeur Sanders getting drafted where he got drafted gives you a preconceived notion, even though it has nothing to do with what's going on right now. They're not developing him like they're trying to make him the starter, like he's their guy going forward. And that puts him, to your point, he's not getting all the work. He's not getting all the reps. He's going to look like a young player because he's not being treated like a guy they're trying to develop.
And that's the life of a later round draft pick. You don't get all of those opportunities. But when the opportunity does present itself to compete for a starting job, you have to take full advantage of that. And I think to your point, Nick, we saw some of the throws or attempts. He's trying to get the ball down the field. He has the arm talent to do so and the confidence to do so. So when you talk about pre-snap reads and all of the things of that nature, there just has to be a sense of urgency. They're doing joint practices with the Bills this week. It's a big week for Shedeur.
Look, you could say the deck was stacked against him as a fifth-round pick, or, you know, that maybe when Stefanski had his guys and he knew Flacco, all this stuff is fine, but Monken's fresh set of eyes. He has no history with Deshaun Watson. He has no history with Shedeur Sanders. He comes in here with Travis Switzer, an offensive coordinator who doesn't know either guy either. And it seems like Watson's getting the bulk of the number ones. So it tells me that Watson's been playing better in practice, despite the fact Shedeur committed himself all offseason, was in the facility in the wintertime and also in the spring. I'd say this, though. Joint practice with the Bills this week. That's far more significant to me than the preseason game. Like, let's see how you do against their number ones. And that's the little secret here as we talk about preseason so much. The joint practices, and some of these teams, the Titans have 3 different ones. That's really the evaluation period because it's ones-on-ones, and you get a chance to see against a top-flight talent.
But the difference is the joint practices don't get seen or talked about. And I know that we can pretend that, and they can all say, we don't listen, it doesn't matter. It matters. The way that we talk about it and the way that the public frames the conversation around players, it matters when you're making decisions. And we all probably agree that the quarterback of the future for Cleveland is probably in college right now. But Shedeur is, and Deshaun Watson for that matter, should either of them want to continue to play, they're playing for everybody else also. So these reps matter. When they both get time in the regular season, it's going to matter. You need to show a glimpse that you have something.
We touched on this yesterday, and we're going to we set aside some time to do a full conversation on it a little later in this hour, which I don't want to take the steam out of that, but just as a general thought. Like on August, whatever today is, 18th, you don't want to be thinking about next year. Like if you can't be.
And they're not in the building either.
That's what I mean. Like
the players certainly are.
You can't be thinking about next year. This season hasn't even started, and we're worried about next season. Like play the guy and let's see what happens.
And I think that's why they're in the situation they're in, is because Todd Monken is saying, I don't want to only play Shedeur just so I can evaluate for next year. I want these guys to battle out and see who is the better quarterback for us right now, who gives us the best chance to win. And thus far, it seems as though they're saying Deshaun Watson. But to your point, these joint practices, Monken already came out and said, I don't know if the starters are going to play in the game. It's going to be dictated on how the joint practices go and what our starters look like.
It's the stuff that we don't see that actually means the most, which is frustrating, but it is the reality. Peter, let's talk about Fernando Mendoza, who looked very good in his first public test. What does he need to show in week 2 here of the preseason against the Texans?
Look, he's been great, and everyone's very happy in Vegas. Everyone I've spoken to has been like, he's ahead of schedule, he's doing well. This is Cousins' job from the start, and it's until Mendoza's ready or until Cousins goes down, knock on wood, or until the season's lost, and it's let's see this, which I think is what you want. Kubiak has been very vocal. Kirk Cousins is our number 1 quarterback. Kirk Cousins is our number 1 quarterback. But if you watched him against Arizona, you saw the signs. You saw that he brought a lot of the stuff he had at Indiana to the NFL field. But it is so early in this young man's career, and it's so early in this season, I wouldn't make too much of what he did in a week 1 preseason game.
Yeah, I mean, Kirk Cousins' team, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
You walk into that locker room, and Kirk Cousins might play well. If he does not play well, it's going to be very hard. Forget the locker room. It's going to be hard for anyone who works for the organization or roots for the organization to not put this 6'5" monster who we got #1 overall, who's ripping the ball all over the place, in the game. It's not going to happen. So either Kirk Cousins plays well, or Fernando Mendoza is starting by week 3, week 4, week 5, somewhere around there.
Please don't do that.
That's the truth.
I'm begging you to please not do that. I'm begging Tom Brady to be the one guy smarter than
the voice of reason.
Here's what I'm saying, Nick. Here's what I'm saying.
Get it.
I've said it a million times. I'll say it again. Fernando Mendoza, the only thing that should dictate when he becomes the starter is his readiness. Whether it's Kirk Cousins, if Kirk Cousins get hurt, put someone else in there. I don't go get Jim Plunkett. I don't go Darryl LaMonica.
The Mad Bomber.
Rich Gannon. Trying to think of old Raider. Get someone else. But don't put the kid out there before he's ready. Take it from someone who has seen it over and over and over again. Don't put the kid out there till he's ready.
But, I mean, there's no, like, real hard line of, like, oh, he did this, now he's ready. He's going to feel ready. And it's like on the heels of the conversation we had about the Browns, what you're saying is like the guys out there, they want to have the best chance to win. So if they are coming into these games every week and Kirk Cousins is not playing well and he's older and he's been injured a bunch of times, they're looking around at each other and then they go in practice and the first team defense is going up against practice squad against Fernando Mendoza, who's ripping 35-yard comebacks down the field. They're going to look at that coach like, what the hell are you doing to me? What are you doing?
I'll tell you a quick story. I remember Bill O'Brien was down in Houston. I was down there at training camp, and all summer it was Tom Savage's job. The first half of week 1, Tom Savage didn't play well. Deshaun Watson goes in at halftime.
Right.
Yes.
So that's
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's easy now.
Yes.
Wait till it starts happening. If Kirk Cousins is not playing well, and he might play well and know everyone will be fine.
Matter.
Wait till it happens. You go out there, they got all these new free agents. They paid a bunch of money for a center. They got new guys with expectations. Tom Brady wants to be good. They're not going to sit out there and let Kirk Cousins
I think that would be a great thing because Kubiak,
while they got a monster on the side.
Kubiak's an offensive coach. He's not going to want to rush him. So if it is forced the issue that much, that means that Mendoza has been head and shoulders better than Cousins and has learned the playbook to a point where they feel he's got it.
And it's not even better than Cousins. It's a combination of both things. Like what we saw from Mendoza in the first game, he goes under center, play action, puts a ball on the money. He's going through his progression. So I think it's a combination of what Nick is saying, but also it speaks to Mendoza. Like if he was stinking it up in practice, we wouldn't be talking about it. Mendoza's just going to learn. But when you see him get out there and you see the progression of him developing, getting better, those type of things, you just can't go pick somebody up. It's football. Like, if you're the backup and the starter gets hurt, get in there and do your job.
We also forget how it feels. Like, when we're here, we think it feels one way, but you remember, you know what it feels like when you're in the season, when every week is a referendum on your job, it feels like, on what you're doing. This is an entirely different feeling. Right now, doesn't matter. Oh, yeah, we'll let him rest until he's ready. We're going to protect him. Go in there. Go be in a locker room 3 weeks in a row where you get whooped and part of the problem is the quarterback. And we got this guy here who's the #1 overall pick.
You don't think Max Crosby's going to be in there like, yo, like, let's see what the kid can do?
The owner, the GM, the coaches, the players, everybody is going to be in there like, what the hell are we doing? What are we doing?
Right, and that's how you wind up with the 3rd pick of the draft winning the Super Bowl for another team. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Those things happen.
Or that's how you end up having success. Like, these quarterbacks, they all don't fail. Like, it's when the time comes to put a guy in, he's going to have success if you're put him in a good situation, especially if he's as talented as you think he is.
All right, let's see what winds up happening. Let me run through the hurry up here. I got a bunch of other stuff. Christian McCaffrey continues to miss practice. That's an important difference. Continues to miss practice while dealing with, quote, tightness issues. J-Mac, are you concerned about another 49er injury 23 days away from a trip to Australia?
I'm not as concerned with the Christian McCaffrey injury of it all. Him as an individual. Overall, yes, they just keep adding guys to the list. It feels like, look at that.
Look at it.
Every single day, it seems like they're adding someone new. So someone of CMC's caliber, you need to have him out there. But tightness isn't really an injury. This is more like you feel like rest to make sure he is ready.
I guess. I mean, I have tightness. We're all just doing the best we can.
You show up, though, Granny.
Here I am ready to roll.
I have no questions about it.
I did my stretching. The Colts have agreed to a 1-year, $8.3 million deal with veteran wide receiver Keenan Allen. Peter, talk to me about this fit.
Love this fit. Obviously, Shane Steichen knows him. They have history together, and this is one of the great possession receivers in the NFL. Is he still have the top-line speed he did as a 3rd-round pick out of Cal? Maybe not, but he was still very solid the last few seasons. Keenan Allen is a possession receiver, and you can never have enough of those on an NFL offense.
That's an interesting division. That AFC South, which long has been sort of overlooked, there's a bunch of good teams there. And then this other one, we talked about it earlier, Domonique, I hate this story. Rookie wide receiver Jordan Tyson could miss up to 2 months with a hamstring. He got hurt during a joint practice with the Jags. If you remember the history of this guy, he was hurt so much in college. That's why people were a little hesitant in the draft. He's so talented, and now before his first season even begins.
Yeah, a 2-month hamstring injury is pretty concerning, especially given the history that he's had. The really bad part, I think, is they were starting to build something down there. And of course, it's not all built on him, but we've come to see that you really need multiple weapons, especially for a young quarterback. A lot of answers will be helpful. They have Olave on the other side who had the concussion issues, and now Jordan Tyson is out. It really sucks for Shutt, and I think for Kellen Moore. And what they're building, like, we're getting excited about what they're doing in New Orleans, which doesn't mean it's over. They still have the O-line and good players on defense, but it really hurts to see their top receiver.
Shuck last year led all rookie quarterbacks in passing yards and completion percentage. He only played a certain amount of games second half of the season. He almost stole the Offensive Rookie of the Year award in just half a season. So the expectation has been so sky high, and everything we have heard out of camp has been just positive, positive, positive. This is the first real setback for the Saints. And we're all looking for our preseason darlings and our summertime darlings, because last year, the Patriots and the Seahawks, they had missed the playoffs the year before. The Saints are that perfect, ripe team where you're like, I'm riding New Orleans. This is a major setback.
2 months for a hamstring. I think that's the part.
What does that tell you? I mean,
like when he's back, like when is he going to be 100%? Because to your point, you said earlier, when you watch the film on him in college, he is unbelievable. He is so talented. The separation he creates, all of those things that you've been hearing in training camp. So, all right, when he gets back in 2 months, is he just getting back on the field? Is he ramping up? At what point is he going to be 100%? Because they went and got a new running back in A-Chan from the Jaguars.
And have Kamara.
They're going in. They still have Alvin Kamara. Like, they are going to try to make a run in that division, and it's just like you're going to need him on the outside along with Olave.
And I think you also don't know with rookies, especially with rookies who show the athleticism and ability. You don't know how big their impact can be. And I was thinking this was the type of player that like had a chance to have like an enormous impact.
Yeah,
he could just be good, but I thought he could be like great. And just to lose him right there like that, just it brings the ceiling down.
And as a rookie, like, you need these reps.
Yeah.
Like, you haven't been out there. So all this missed time, not only physically, but mentally as well.
I have no idea what to make of that division. The two Souths, which have long
historically
been
overlooked,
are maybe the two most interesting divisions. I have no idea what to make of any of the teams in the NFC South.
Ruben Bain.
Yeah, Ruben.
That's all you
like
need to know.
Okay.
Yeah, that O-line and Ruben Bain is over.